Today, we're exploring a really interesting way of farming, not on land with animals or plants, but in the ocean with shellfish. We'll look at how mussels and oysters are farmed in Scotland, why they're considered sustainable or good for the planet, and what nutrients they can provide us to stay healthy. Shellfish farming is part of aquaculture, which means growing animals and plants in water. Mussels and oysters are filter feeders. They filter food out of the water by drawing it in and trapping tiny bits of algae and other nutrients to eat. This makes them different from fish, which swim around and hunt for food. Scotland is a great place for farming mussels and oysters because it has a long coastline with very clean, cold water. Clean water is essential because these shellfish are filter feeders, meaning they can only grow well in healthy environments. This also makes them safe and delicious to eat. Mussels are grown on long ropes hanging in the water. The mussels attach themselves to the ropes and grow by filtering food from the water. They take in water, trap tiny plants called algae to eat, and then push the water back out, helping keep the water clean. And when they're big enough, farmers harvest them to sell. Oysters are usually grown on the seabed or in cages. Like mussels, oysters are filter feeders, so they don't need any extra food from farmers. By filtering the water, they also help keep it clean. When the oysters reach a certain size, they're ready to be harvested. Mussels and oysters are considered sustainable seafood. They clean the water as they grow, and they don't need extra feed or fertilizers like some other types of farming. The structures, like ropes and cages, create habitats for small fish and other sea creatures. So mussel and oyster farms can even support biodiversity, which means they help lots of species live together in one place. Mussels and oysters are not just tasty, they're very nutritious. They're high in protein, which helps our bodies grow strong, and they have omega-3 fatty acids, which are great for our brains and heart. They're also rich in iron and zinc, which helps keep us energized and support our immune system, the body's natural defense. Another reason these shellfish are so good for the environment is because they have a low carbon footprint, meaning they don't add much carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Shellfish farms can also help remove CO2 from the water, which helps the planet. Even the shells can be reused. They can be turned into fertilizer for plants or even used to help restore beaches. So, now that we know some cool facts about mussels and oysters, let's learn some important words that help us talk about them. For example, aquaculture is just like agriculture, but in water. Filter feeders are animals like mussels and oysters that filter their food from the water. Can anyone match one of the words to its definition? So today, we learned that mussels and oysters are sustainable foods that don't need extra feed or fertilizer. They're healthy for us and keep the oceans clean. Would anyone like to share if they've ever tried mussels or oysters? If not, would you want to try them? Mussels and oysters are a great example of a sustainable food. Sustainable foods are grown in a way that is good for the planet. What other foods do you think might be sustainable? Think about foods that don't need a lot of water or space to grow, or that support the ecosystem around them. It's quiz time. Let's see how much we remember. I'll read some questions and you can raise your hand if you know the answer. Ready? What is the main type of food mussels and oysters eat? Tiny plants called algae, which they filter out of the water. What does it mean that mussels and oysters are filter feeders? It means they filter water through their bodies to trap and eat tiny food particles, helping to clean the water as they feed. Why is Scotland a good place to farm mussels and oysters? Scotland has clean, ice-cold coastal waters, which provide the perfect environment for healthy mussel and oyster farming. How do mussels and oysters help the environment? They filter and clean the water, remove extra nutrients, and create habitats for other marine species. Name one nutrient found in mussels and oysters that is good for our health. Omega-3 fatty acids, which are good for brain and heart health. What does it mean when we say mussels and oysters are sustainable foods? It means they are grown in a way that's good for the environment because they don't need extra feed, improve water quality, and have a low impact on the planet. Now, imagine you're setting up your own mussel or oyster farm. Think about where you would need to place the ropes or cages and how you would keep the water clean. Draw your farm and explain how it would be sustainable, and what you would need to make sure your farm is helping the ocean stay healthy. For more resources and information, go on our websites. And thank you for listening and learning.